This guy's giving so much gyan here.
You asked.
उस जजमेंटल लेंस से ना देख.
Ridiculous.
नहीं, अगर साफ हिंदी बोल रहे होते तो ये नहीं बोलते ना कि दिल्ली में only culture is agriculture.
I started at 400 and then it became 450
Per show.
I got 600 rupees per show as well. So 6 into 6, 3,600 boss.
Wow, that's a princely sum.
You know, people would think I'm joking given my ample size, but I started off as a tennis player. I was ranked nationally in the sub-juniors and juniors.
I used to shove table tennis bats into any corner that I found and hold it like a mic. So that's where the love.
So one RJ secret you never told anybody.
And they approached me saying, would you like to become our radio jockey? And at that point of time, I was in television where I was not being allowed to do radio.
There was an incident where a celebrity abused on my show.
You know the CEO right now, right?
Romance time.
Or boss. The family station.
Romance is family.
If not RJing, what?
यो तो बहुत है कदरे सुखन दकन में कौन जाए ज़ौक़ पर दिल्ली गलियां छोड़कर.
This guy is a fraud from then.
Go back to the theatre.
Biggest guilty pleasure in terms of the songs that you played without permission. Today we bring together not just RJs but storytellers who've shaped how India listens. Hrishi K and Sarthak. They're more than broadcasters. They're creators of moments, builders of connection, and custodians of the radio craft. Let's decode the real art of radio. What you're about to witness is more than just an interview. It's a handbook for anyone who's ever dreamed of speaking into the mic. A masterclass in engaging hearts, minds, and imagination. This is where passion meets precision, where history meets the future, where two OGs share the secrets behind the magic you hear every day. So I'd just like to understand your career and how it's come along and where did you start and how did you get into it?
It started when I was a kid and relatives got a cassette tape. I come from the age of cassette tapes. What
is that? What is this cassette tape?
I understand that
Gen Z like
Gen Z, yeah. It was an implement to play music, analog. It had a tape and two plastic bits which would sandwich the tape.
How interesting.
And then music would play out of it because it was all cut from needles.
Oh,
it's lovely. Yeah, it's very analog and artisanal, so to speak. Yeah, there were wonderful notes also, which were called sleeve notes, where you could get lyrics because we didn't have the internet at that time.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
You were born that early?
Yes.
Oh.
I had to go to this wonderful analog internet called the library to read about the people I loved. But so this tape, a friend of mine got this tape from America, and I was in love because this guy talking in this fancy accent and sound effects playing and music coming in and then explain. I think I just couldn't think of anything that could be cooler. And I wanted to be that. I even rolled my R's so badly that now I cringe, but at that point of time, it felt interminably cool. I used to shove table tennis bats into any corner that I found and hold it like a mic. So that's where the love.
Is that where you got your fake accent from also?
Yes, absolutely. It's now a part of my personality. So, I've learned that even if you have to make a fool of yourself, you have to make it 100%. People will believe anything. It's a post-truth world.
So, Hrishi, glad to have you here. I've grown up in Bombay and I've grown up listening to you. I remember interviewing with you some 10, 15 years back. So, you are truly OG. So let's go back to the beginning. When did you first know that radio was going to be your calling?
Well, when I went into a studio and put my headphones on, it actually my first audition for a radio job. Just like DD Metro, Doordarshan Television would sell hours to various private players, All India Radio decided to follow the same model. So they sold a few hours to the Times of India and they called it Times FM, sold a few hours to the Midday and they called it Radio Midday. In Delhi, they had smaller players like 6 o'clock FM. And one of my dear mates, who's now incidentally a friend of yours too, Roshan Abbas, and this was the year 1994, just after Independence Day. And he came to me and he said, the Times of India have bought a few hours from All India Radio. and they're testing for radio jockeys, radio hosts, and they're paying 500 rupees a show. Understand this, that for a kid who's just passed out of his 12th standard, in his first year of college, 500 rupees was a king's ransom. And the reason I went for that audition was greed, but I came out spiritually awakened. So there are lots of things that you might jump into in life with greed, but do not negate the fact that you will come out as a spiritually aware person, is the lesson in that. So yeah, I mean, I'd always been passionate about music, and I used to build mixtapes for people in school who were in love. And I loved public speaking because I was always the guy doing debates and elocutions. And when I went into that studio and put the headphones on, and I'd written a few lines, and they'd also given us a CD player with faders on, and I introduced the song and I played it, I said, wow, this combines music along with the performing arts. And it was just falling in love instantaneously. I was so in the moment, I was so present, I was so aware. I still think back to that moment, I have goosebumps. I can never forget it. So in effect, the first time I fell in love was when I went into audition. And needless to say, I made it through the audition, and I was on Times FM in 1994. Till one fine day, the government pulled the plug on that. And the information broadcasting minister said, look here, let's go back to just plain All India Radio, because ultimately we're going to float tenders and bring back private radio. And everybody left radio at that time. I had colleagues like Brian Tellis who went and found Fountainhead. I had colleagues like Erica who went and joined Channel V. I had colleagues like Roshan who went and formed Encompass. But I said I want to do radio, and my parents thought I had lost my mind. They said, this is a good opportunity for you to find an alternate profession because Times FM and Radio Midday and the rest are shutting down. Why would you want to go and work at All India Radio at Churchgate, especially when they're going to give you 6 shows a month worth 400 rupees? And I couldn't imagine a life without radio. So I went and worked at the All India Radio English department.
Oh, yes. It was English department, yes.
And you were the Hindi department.
No. It was Hindi Vibhag, by the way.
So I started working in semi-private radio, then went to government radio, and then of course private radio came back in its full glory. So those are the early days.
So private FM, where did you start in private FM?
Interestingly, because Times FM came back, rechristened as Radio Mirchi, I immediately got a call from the promoter's office, from Vineet's office, saying, join us. But I met this maverick of a guy called Gautam Radia, who I immediately developed a man crush on. And I remember him taking me to his favorite haunt, the Willingdon Club, which Sarthak is the equivalent of the Delhi Gym or the Delhi Golf Club of Bombay. And in 15 minutes, he had me eating out of his hands. And I said, yeah, I'll go and work with you. And people thought I'd lost it. A mega corporation like BCCL, which is the Bennett & Coleman Company Limited, has their doors open for me, wanting me back as an person on contract, employee. And this guy says, look here, it's all about the lineup. I want you to do breakfast. I have a girl who I've hired from St. Xavier's College called Malishka who will do the afternoon.
Yeah.
I have a girl who I've hired from MTV called Malini Agarwal, who became Miss Malini, who will do the evening. And your friend Roshan Abbas is going to do the nights.
And this was a lineup on...
This is the lineup.
On Win 94.
On Win 94.6
Absolutely.
FM. So I call Roshan. And I go, hey, you're also not going back to DOI. I believe you signed to this guy called Gautam Radia. He said, हाँ boss, इसमें तो कुछ है, this guy. And Radia had worked at Sri Lanka and he understood radio. And he just said, tell me what you want. And you guys have it. And he built that dream lineup. There was, like I said, there was myself, there was Malishka, and there was Miss Malini, and there was Roshan Abbas. And all of us went on to do pretty decently for ourselves in our career. So that was the first private job till Gautam ran out of money. and he surrendered his license. But it's remarkable, by God's grace, I think he surrenders his license, and within, I think 34 days later, I was doing bumper to bumper at Radio Mirchi, because my ex-boss at Times FM, Tapas Sen, had already become national head at Mirchi, and he said, my doors have been open for you from the beginning. You're the guy who wanted to go and
Check out Gotham
Radia. But yeah, it was great while it lasted. We still have a WhatsApp group called Win 94.6 FM. We still meet at the Willingdon. We still share stories. Still.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was great stuff. But what I dived into then was Hindi radio. And what I did bumper to bumper for Mirchi was pure Hindi Desi radio. अब बहुत सारे लोग ये नहीं सोचते कि मेरी पैदाइश और तालीम लखनऊ में हुई है और मेरे पिताजी मेरे वालिद जो है वो लखनऊ में लार्सन & टूब्रो लिमिटेड नाम
Have we got it confused right now?
है
I thought he was the English RJ and he was the... He had never... Something is wrong, guys.
तो हमारा अब भी बहुत सारे लखनऊ वाले हैं यहाँ पे रोहित कालरा है सऊद है और जाहिर सी बात है अगर आपने स्कूलिंग लखनऊ से की हो तो जो जुबान है जो तलफ़ुज़ है वो बहुत साफ So yeah, I ended up doing Hindi radio.
So where did you start?
Where did I start? I started with All India Radio, actually. And this was before Private FM had come in.
What's that?
All India Radio, it's the public broadcaster.
Oh.
Yes. You had to tune the radio. There was a dial and there were analog numbers. And there was this vertical line that would go horizontally and we were fascinated. It was magnetic. You turn it and suddenly there's noises and suddenly music comes in. And there's shortwave with which we could catch sounds that were coming out of England. BBC we heard on radio.
Wow.
Yeah. And we were enamored. I mean, it was love completely. And then to get into... So it's fantastic because AIR... now they've shifted, of course, but at that point of time, it was the Heritage Building. This was where Gandhi had given his, addresses to the nation. This is where Nehru had gone, sat in front of the mic, and we were sitting there. Of course, at that point of time, there were some lovely mice that had also sort of, decided to show their secular credentials and occupy that space, considering equality is so lovely. But we'd go there, and it was like, this we can do. So
are you giving credit for all this to Nehruji and Gandhiji?
Everything is Nehruji and Gandhiji, is it not? So you might as well. Why not? Moving swiftly on. But radio was great because...
So you're now apparently getting a 1 crore check, which I don't know, it might just be withdrawn.
Yeah.
But what is your first paycheck like? Must have been a...
it was brilliant. In All India Radio, and this is inside information, in All India Radio, you could not do more than 6 shows a month because otherwise you'd have had to become an employee. So we would sign a monthly contract with a 1 rupee revenue stamp and we would get a princely sum of 400 rupees per show. And if we agreed to do the night show, which was 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. called the Wicked Hour, then we could also do a 5 to 6 a.m. show and 2 shows clubbed together, 800 rupees counting only as 1 show.
But surprisingly, in the All India Radio headquarters in Churchgate, when a semi-private radio went out for a while, I would end up doing about 18 shows a month, but bill only 6. Because I said I wanted the experience. I mean, as an 18-year-old kid, that's what you want. You're out of your 12th standard, you want to do more radio.
Absolutely.
But you'd bill only 6 and get paid for only 6.
And we were told specifically by our program officers, you will get money for 6 shows. You want to do more?
And how much was that?
Sorry?
How much was that?
Started at 400 and then it became 450.
Per show.
I got 600 rupees per show as well, if memory serves me right. So 6 into 6, 3,600, boss.
Wow, that's a princely sum.
Yeah.
And incidentally, the first
this was what, in the
inhabitants,
1930s, 1940s? When was this?
93, 94.
Just after you were born, boss. Just after that. But I was eyeing my first Mercedes already. I mean, it was fantastic. 3,600 on a check in my name. Brilliant.
So whether Collins and stuff like that,
Everything. Yes.
So how did you build your connect with those listeners who were calling in?
So I had a huge bag in which there were cassettes, there were CDs, and then from the AIR library, they had the most exquisite collection of vinyls. So I would take that and I would go and I would play the music that I really wanted to. We used to play ads of spools. There was no computer to speak of, and people would message. They'd actually call. There was no messaging at that point of time. They'd send postcards. I still have those. First, they were beige, and then they were blue. And they'd send in their requests on those
What's
postcards.
that, postcards?
Do you know a paper and pen?
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard of this.
You might have seen it somewhere lying around in your parents' side tables or something.
But you're a keen brand watcher. You'd be interested in knowing that MobiLink was one of the first brands to make use of radio and invest in All India Radio by giving pagers to radio presenters. And each studio would have a pager. And there used to be MobiLink page in hours where you could request for your song with a pager message. And we'd read off pagers.
And there's a hierarchy of capitalism in the pagers as well. So the poorer ones would get only numeric pagers where you could only send a number. Or the really cool ones had the alphanumeric pagers.
And what are these pages? What do they look like?
So cut the 6.5 inch screen that you have on your phone to about an inch.
And me looks ridiculously close. With a bit of a screen.
With a screen. And the richer ones had a screen that moved. So you could read the things that were coming out. It was like that.
And we were encouraged to leave the notification button on because MobiLink was of the opinion that if that sound went on the mic, it sounded cooler because the buzzer would keep going off and we'd say, okay, Shefali from Bandra has messaged her boyfriend in Dobi Dalao and read out a message.
She's sending her love with George Michael. That happened as well.
And on to Private FM. When did that happen? And
Private FM happened to me in 2006, which is when the station that was playing back-to-back music wanted its first radio jockey. And they approached me saying, would you like to become our radio jockey? And at that point of time, I was in television where I was not being allowed to do radio. So I was doing radio under a false name. I called myself Dr. Feelgood.
this guy is a fraud from then. So, just watch out.
That's what management
It's a Motley Crue album. It's a Motley Crue album, isn't it?
Actually, the song,
The song, doesn't feel good. Wow.
The chorus goes, he's the one they call Dr.
Feelgood.
He's the one who'll make you feel all right. So I was like, that's a name I wanted.
Shout out to Shubh to get Motley Crue in and fill at least 5,000 seats. Yeah.
So I was doing radio under an assumed name, and I was approached, and news television wasn't a very happy place at that point of time. But the lure of television was such that I thought to myself whether I should, because it's a national medium itself. But considering I was doing features, I was doing music and art, I was last on the wheel, and my story would play at 3 a.m. and then get dropped. I was like, what is the worst that can happen? So the worst happened, which was that I joined radio, and my first show was called Dilli the Download, where I played Punjabi hits.
Dilli Da, as in
Dilli
Punjabi.
Da, yeah, because the people who were running the station weren't from Delhi, and they thought Delhi was all about Punjabi. So they had to have a Da somewhere. So there was Dilli Da Downloads.
That's on which station?
It was on the station called Hit 95 FM. So that's where it was. And I did the 8 to midnight slots there. And it was very interaction heavy because Delhi people love to talk if they've got the right kind of leverage, so to speak. And then about 6 months down, I got my first morning show on Private FM, Hit Mornings with Sarthak. and there was a foreign voice that would introduce me, Hit Mornings with Sarthak, and it was the coolest thing after that paycheck of 3,600 rupees that had happened to me. Your name being said by a foreign woman. I mean, yeah, that happened, and I did that.
You get all these fan mails and fan calls and so on.
Yeah. We had SMSs
calling you up.
We had SMSs at that point of time. We had that didn't really. I would love to say it did, but then I'd be lying. The genders weren't really that. They were fluid even at that point of time. I think fandom is a parallel line to lust. So no, I think I was just very grateful that when I called, when I asked someone to call, they called, and it was all I could do to get on my knees and thank the person, because I had no idea what was working. I had a pet cow, which was a sound effect. I had very strange sound effects that I would make up stories about, and we'd every Monday we had a segment where we called it Revenge of the Slaves, where we'd steal the boss's chair or occupy his parking.
Wasn't this a Punjabi show?
No. This was Hit Mornings with Sarthak, boss. He was English. He was foreign. Yeah. That was the first English show on private FM in Delhi. So we turned completely English because royalty issues. It was cheaper to run, and we were an independent radio station. So it was completely English, and it was completely rebellious. It was like, we were a completely live radio station. So all of this theater of the mind drama was happening. We had a sound effect. We had a sound engineer who would keep sound effects ready of the chair squeaking and cars coming in, and we'd create this whole thing saying that we are subversive. Come, listen to us. So it's great fun.
So, Rishi, to you, if someone's starting their career in radio today, what's the advice you would give them? Top 3 things that you would tell them?
I think it's very important to be digitally aware right now, because we didn't have the tools when we were starting off to promote ourselves other than our radio show. And you need that in this day and age. I was uncomfortable with it in the beginning. You know that, Ramesh. And thanks to me. The greatest thing that I've had in my life is I've always had mentors or people who gave me a guiding hand or a helping hand when I most needed them. I mean, I've had people like Ramesh Menon, Tariq Ansari, Gautam Radia, Roshan, Tapas, all these people who left a part of them with me, and I was able to learn from. I think it's very important for anybody who gets into radio today. And please do not be held tight or bound by your physical appearance. When I started off, I was like, oh my God, is my paunch visible? Is my double chin visible? If people truly like you, they don't care. If they see that you're there to entertain them and inform them, and you're true to yourself, they will embrace you. And use that. There are lots of people who started listening to me on the radio after they discovered me on Instagram and Twitter. And like I said, I have you to thank for that, Ramesh, because you always spurred me on to do more stuff digitally. So that's the only advice I can give somebody in the modern era, which is embrace your digital side. And even if your heart truly beats for radio, like Sarthak's does, use it to expand your horizon.
So if it's someone starting his career in radio, do they do that anymore? If someone's starting his career in radio as an RJ, what's your advice for them?
I'd be loath to give advice, because what happens with advice, Ozzy Osbourne said a beautiful thing. He was asked, what do you think of Justin Bieber? So he said, who the is Justin Bieber? And he said, you haven't heard Justin Bieber. He said, no, I have not heard Justin Bieber. He said, why? So Ozzy Osbourne said, because I make my own music and I fear that what goes in from here might come out from here. Advice in that way is a double-edged sword. But I would just say that there is already, an OG, another OG. We are all our personalities, and we didn't become our personalities because we wanted to be someone else. Just, even if it means like a sore thumb, it's great to stick out.
So how important is, to your question, to your answer, personal branding for an RJ, and how, a lot of these guys have become brands themselves, and today they've gone on to YouTube and whatever else. How important is it? Or you are a purist at heart?
I'm at pains to underline that this is my personal opinion. This is certainly not a generalization by the farthest stretch. But to me, the uniqueness of radio is that radio is always the star. It is not a person on radio. It is radio being heard with that person. So if you build the medium along with yourself and you recognize the primacy of the medium and you strive to get yourself up to the level of the medium, it's the greatest partnership. And no matter how much you try, it's not going to be that your personal brand will overshadow radio. It can never happen. And the people that you're talking about, they're no longer on radio. That's because those people were personalities on radio, but they were not personalities who were doing radio. And there's a slight difference to that. And to become personalities, they had to leave the medium. And once you understand the primacy of the medium and that you are secondary to the medium, you will do an absolutely spectacular job. But you have to be subservient to the medium.
So let me come to today and the job you're getting into. Why do you think people should listen to us? With podcast, streaming, AI, all of this stuff that's going on, and young people supposedly not listening to radio, why would they listen to old foggies like you guys?
I just think that there is, you're right. If you were to think about it, there's no real reason for them to listen to radio. But radio is that friend who makes no demands. Today, everyone's asking for your time. If you're looking at the television, if you're looking in your screen, you're a prisoner to the screen. If you're looking at the television, you're a prisoner to television. Radio says you want to listen to me while doing 5 things, please. You want to listen to me only, please. I will give you information. I will give you fun. I won't talk down to you. And that, I think, is just such a... I think that enduring charm remains irrespective of when radio was heard, is heard, will be heard. And that's the thing that will keep people coming back to radio. It's the warmth. It's the human element of radio. And I just think that we do it better than others. Because I think we believe in the fact that a voice that becomes a person in the passenger seat of someone's car, or becomes a little whisper in the ear that gets the corner of the lips going northwards. What more could we want? Everyone is looking for that simple little things, but everyone's being told, oh, we must look for the bigger things. But someone who's so proudly simple, I just think it's.
What's the one myth of radio that you want to burst today?
That it doesn't serve a purpose. That it's purely entertainment. It isn't. In the most advanced societies, in the most developed markets, radio is trusted even before television or the media. Internet goes to radio reporters because we are there. We are immediate. We are in the moment. I come from a time when radio was public service. I've seen bags full of those cards coming in from the border because AIR used to run a show called Forces Request and Fauji Bhaiyon Ke Liye, which was the only show that would go to Siachen Glacier. And there would be postcards that those people would send with messages to their families. And the families would send postcards back so that they could hear their messages. And these people who found it so hard to get leaves, they would actually spend one precious day of their 10-day or 11-day leaves to come to AIR and tell these people who are doing Forces Request and Fauji Bhaiyon Ke Liye that because of you, we feel that we have a family. That is the power of radio that nobody either understands or wants to understand or wants to acknowledge. It is there. People who listen to it understand that power, maybe not verbally or maybe not articulated, but it is there. And once people start to understand it, they'll understand the power of radio.
This guy's giving so much gyan here. Ridiculous.
You asked?
We have 50 minutes of advertising on air. Where is he going to get time to do that? We'll have to listen to him because he has no time on air. You choose. Some fun questions. Studio rituals.
Studio ritual. Yeah, that's exciting. Warm water, always. Coffee, always. A backup phone, always. Nobody has the number of that phone. I don't know. You know, it's like people keeping a backup pen back in the day.
Yeah.
What if one stops working? The other one's got to be around.
Damn.
Uh,
I still carry a pen.
yeah. Number of tech guys always ready. If you go off air, boom, he's got to be on speed dial. Can you move to the tower? Play a pen drive or CD. And make sure you clear your bowels.
No, that's important.
I'm not the first person to have said that. Mr. Bachchan always says that.
When we were doing live radio, because Radia insisted that we would do live radio, I knew exactly how much time I would take from the studio to the washroom and back, because I had to count the time of the ad break and match it.
And your studio rituals?
Everything mine. I need my own headphones. I need my own mic filter. I need a diary, a pen.
We are a BYOD organization.
Yeah.
So thank
I have
God
my own
budgets
devices.
are saved now.
It doesn't matter what organization. I always BMOD, bring my own devices. So yeah, I mean, otherwise, just a thank you to God before putting on the mic.
But some gossip that nobody knows about, radio politics. I'm sure all these, RJs had a lot of politics going on in your time.
No, why look in my time now? Here and now. I know a very famous, or rather she would like to believe she's very famous, but let's say a moderately famous radio presenter who pays the paparazzi to carry her photographs, to carry Instagram posts.
Really?
On her, yes. Pays them cash.
PR posts.
Yeah. And, the biggest paps, which is Viral Bhayani and all these guys, are all guys known to me. I mean, we've all, pretty much grown up in the same environment, school, college, and things like that. So, yeah. Don't ever think that radio people are any less ambitious.
And any other goss in Delhi?
I used to work on English radio search, which basically meant that everyone was telling us that we shut down in 6 months. But he was giving us gossip. We were gossip. First, we were told, so this is true. One of the biggest networks had come to us saying that we've done a research on the listenership patterns in Delhi, and there is an active dislike of English music, which means that it is not that somebody will listen to music and just let it go as background noise. They will actively go and shut it down. And we had made it our mission to prove that we would not allow that to happen. And we made our English music. We ran it for 9 years till the government asked us for money that we didn't have because English radio station. But we did manage to crack Mercedes, which still remains the only brand promotion that they did on radio. There was Longines, there was Raj.
Yeah, they don't advertise, man. Mercedes.
We remained. 895 was the only one.
One sec, we haven't got the money from them as yet, so let's not mention names.
It's great to do radio. It's fantastic. Taste it. Is that good enough? But no, we were in our own world here. I had no idea who PDs were and I didn't even know who was doing the shows because we were live.
Do you know the CEO right now, right?
Certainly a person who asks the right questions.
To put it mildly.
Someone whose signature I would certainly like to copy for a while. I've been practicing.
Morning show or evening show?
Morning show. Whoa.
By far.
By far.
Yeah. Any slot, as long as it's morning.
So both of you are morning people.
Yeah. I'm completely. And I've done a fair share of evening because my stint at Mirchi was an evening stint. And for a brief while, Radia experimented by doing a show called Overdrive with me and Malini in the evening. It was short-lived because, a month later, he just said, you go back to breakfast and you do that. Because again, there was sponsor interest on seeing a man-woman combination together.
Of course.
Except for those stints, I've always been a morning presenter. I just love the whole vibe of, I'm an early riser, and for an early riser, that's the best thing.
I'm not a morning person at all.
Oh, you're not?
I just, 26 years and I haven't. I mean, I cannot. I can wake up. So in TV, I used to do the 3 p.m. to midnight shift. Fantastic.
Is he going to come to office on time?
I am the first one in, and you know that. Always, first one in office. Because live show.
That's what you said in the interview, but I don't have any proof of that.
Oh, I have. Timestamps included on my
CCTV footage.
CCTV footage.
Listener calls or celeb interviews?
But
Wow, that's a very, very, very interesting one. I think listener calls would pip the celeb interviews, because the celeb interviews now, over the sands of time, are becoming more and more structured, and they all have publicists and brand guys who tell them what to say and how to say and this and that. So, the spontaneity and the gay abandon of the past is slowly become structured answers. So yeah, listeners are far more loving, emotional, vulnerable.
I've not really done too many celeb interviews, but listen, somebody has heard you, and without recompense or the hope of recompense, they've given you the most precious gift of them all, which is that of their time.
But you'd said in your interview that you'd done a lot of celeb interviews.
Not at all. No.
Can you check that on record, please?
Yes. Please check that on record. I've said my listener is my celeb. Maybe there was a little bit of confusion there.
If not RJing, what?
Nothing at all. Couldn't do anything else.
So if we shut down, then you are...
I'm jobless. I've been jobless. Multiple times. When I was shut down on the station. But no.
If not RJing, then what?
I'd go back to the theatre. Interesting.
That's something for you as well.
Interestingly, I started off as a, people would think I'm joking given my ample size, but I started off as a tennis player. I was ranked nationally in the sub-juniors and juniors, and I belonged to the ilk or the batch of Leander Paes and Mahesh Bhupati and all these guys. I pretty much grew up playing tennis around people like that. Unfortunately, I had a very bad motorcycle accident sometime in my 11th standard, where I broke my cervical vertebra, this and that. And it's not as though people don't recover and get back. Rishabh Pant is a prime example, but maybe I didn't. I just, and then I had a slip disc also, a busted knee, so it was a little difficult to get back. And public speaking was always my second love. And I started off in the theatre, which is when I was referred to radio, because all these people in the theatre group had already gone and tested and things like that. So I would love to go back to the theatre, and I still love the smell and the feel of going to a Prithvi theatre in Bombay, or even a Kamani here, and to watch some great theatre.
Do you know I was a French translator? That's
I'd be damned. Why?
I've done my master's in French. I specialized in interpretation.
So you went to Olias in South Extension?
No, I went to the Jawaharlal Nehru University for my master's, and I did it for about a year, and it crushed me as far as mentality is concerned. Boring, crushingly boring. Then I became a fashion journalist.
Didn't they say we shouldn't take people from JNU?
It's number one.
Wasn't there a diktat?
No, but the government rankings say Jawaharlal Nehru University is the number one university.
My wife from JNU as well.
It seems, at least in some cases, you have great choice.
The campus is terrific.
It's a
Oh wow! I've gone and sat on those rocks and I've had tea.
it's a different world. It's a world in itself.
So one RJ secret you never told anybody.
There was an incident where a celebrity abused on my show. If we had gotten caught, we would have gone off air.
Yeah.
But we weren't.
Yeah.
And it's to remain a secret.
It's only wrong if we catch it.
Yeah, it's only wrong if we catch it. Yeah.
Biggest guilty pleasure in terms of the songs that you played without permission. I remember a few.
I think you know.
Surprisingly, because I think the national music manager of Radio 1 sits in Bombay, which is Kobad Mubajina. He's a very, very anal stickler for perfection Parsi.
Yeah.
And who knows, there's one thing he knows by heart, it's the playlist he set. And if you deviate a single song from his playlist, he knows.
Yeah.
Because he's dreamt of it all night before scheduling. There's no chance of going off the playlist, man. But sitting in Delhi, I'm sure you did
we were talking about secrets, weren't we, boss? but no. There was a fantastic blues song that we have on our playlist as well. And I played that, and he heard it. And he calls up the the then station heads, and he says, "What is this that's playing?" And then he calls me saying, "What is this, Macha? Why are you playing this? We must discuss this." No. And I'm like, "I'm sorry. My show, it's a song that's trending right now. We must." And I walk out, and he's walking into office, and he said, "What is this that's playing?" And I told him that I will apologize, but I will not regret.
Wow.
Yes. But it comes from the fact that at Hit 95, I was handling music, I was handling creative production, everything. Literally, we were like 3 people, and I was handling everything. So I used to do a jazz show on Friday nights, which was called Friday Night Jazz, 10 to midnight. I would do my show in the morning. I would finish all the work. I would go out by 5.
Can we test a Hindi, please, now?
हाँ हिंदी, अरे दिल्ली है, ऐसी क्या बात है। मैं तो मतलब सुबह शो करता था 7 से 12, उसके बाद सारे क्लाइंट मीटिंग्स करता था, उसके बाद घर जाके थोड़ा खाना खाता था, 1 घंटा सोता था, फिर उठ के अपनी वाइफ से करता था रोमांस टाइम, और फिर हम लोग
बॉस द फैमिली स्टेशन.
रोमांस इज फैमिली. हाउ कैन यू गेट फैमिली विदाउट रोमांस? बट आई यूज्ड टू से रोमांस टाइम. एंड देन हम लोग ड्राइव करते थे रात को, खाली सड़कें.
Is this the kind of Hindi that you speak?
हाँ, ये हिंदी.
Isn't there a little more cultured Hindi that is normally going on air?
आप अगर क्लिष्ट हिंदी चाहते हैं तो मैं क्षमा चाहूंगा, मैं किम कर्तव्य विमूढ़ हूँ. नो, बट ये भी हिंदी होती है.
Guy, यार, I mean, where have we got this?
ओके, JNU. बट
लेकिन हमारी बात चल रही थी
जी,
अगर आपको याद होगा, और हमारी यही बात चल रही थी कि आजकल इंग्लिश का दौर चल रहा है.
हाँ,
उसमें बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो अंग्रेजी में ही बात करते हैं, बीच बीच में 2-3 शब्द फेंक देते हैं.
बिल्कुल. वो 2-3 हिंदी के शब्द या मराठी के शब्द, कोई प्योर भाषा रही नहीं है. मतलब इस तरह से अगर आपको सड़क की भाषा बोलनी है तो आपको ये शब्द इस्तेमाल करने पड़ेंगे. आप पूरी तरह से हिंदी.
लेकिन इनका कहना सही है. देखिए, अभी मुंबई जैसे शहर में लोग साफ हिंदी नहीं बोल पाते.
बिल्कुल
जाएगा पाएंगा वाला शहर है. लेकिन नॉर्थ के अंदर, खास करके दिल्ली के अंदर, NCR के अंदर लोग साफ हिंदी बोलते हैं. तो उस हिसाब से इनका कहना यह है कि आपको कहीं उस जजमेंटल लेंस से ना देखें.
नहीं, पर ये अगर साफ हिंदी बोल रहे होते तो ये नहीं बोलते ना कि दिल्ली में ओनली कल्चर इज एग्रीकल्चर. नहीं है साफ हिंदी. दिल्ली की हिंदी भी दिल्ली की जमुना की तरह ही गंदी है, और उस गंदी हिंदी को बोलने के लिए आपको भी वही भाषा बोलनी है जो आपने सड़क पे समझा. और सड़क पे थैंक यू भी बोलते हैं, और सड़क पे बोलते हैं आम कूल, स्किबडी भी बोलते हैं, लेकिन हिंदी में ही बोलते हैं, क्योंकि हमारे अंदर एक है, गर्व है हमारी भाषा में, और उस गर्व में हम हिंदी बोलेंगे, इंग्लिश बोलेंगे, उसमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. हम रेबल्स हैं. Delhi is the doormat that everyone wipes their dirty feet on and says that Delhi is dirty. पर दिल्ली में जो दिल्ली is the शहर of गालिब, दिल्ली is the शहर of ज़ौक़. यो तो बहुत है कदरे सुखन दक्कन में, कौन जाए ज़ौक़ पर दिल्ली गलियां छोड़कर.
अरे वाह.
This was ज़ौक़. He says there is a
No clue what you said, but yeah, it sounded
boss.
good.
Hindi nahi, Urdu. You know what Urdu was? Urdu was the encampment that was outside the Red Fort for the soldiers. So the Red Fort compound was called Urdu-e-Mohalla, which basically meant, or Urdu Mubarak, which basically meant the exalted fort.
These guys are really old.
अच्छा, एक सेकंड, one second. I have a logical question.
No, boss. You are just trying to hide the fact that there is a lot of knowledge that's floating around in this.
नहीं, ये मतलब मेरा ये मानना है कि दिल्ली एक तरफ से यूपी से घिरा हुआ है, दूसरी तरफ से हरियाणा से घिरा हुआ है.
पंजाबी है.
तो पंजाबी है.
हाँ.
तो लोग जाटू बोली भी बोलते हैं,
हाँ,
पंजाबी बोलते हैं, खड़ी बोली बोलते हैं. यूपी वाले जो है, जहाँ हम बैठे हुए हैं यहाँ पे नोएडा में,
बिल्कुल
एक यूपी का एक लहजा अलग है.
बिल्कुल.
तो आप सबको अपनाएंगे.
क्या है कि दिल्ली में इन सबका मिक्स जो होता है उसको कहते हैं देवनागरी. देवनागरी में थोड़ी उर्दू है, थोड़ी खड़ी बोली है, थोड़ी सी ब्रिज भाषा है, और उस सबको घोंट के जो बनती है वो दिल्ली का स्वाद है, और वो स्वाद भाषा में आता है. ज़ौक़ ने क्या बोला था? What ज़ौक़ said in this, which he said that the respect for the written word and for poetry might exist exponentially in Deccan, which is where the Awadh kings were.
Yeah. So-
He said they might respect the art of poetry there a lot. But who the hell wants to leave these streets of Delhi to go there? That is the beauty.
The OGs of radio, guys. Sarthak and Hrishi K. You can listen to them on the Sarthak frequency and Good Morning Delhi with Hrishi K. Thank you, guys. That was
Thank
a
you,
brilliant,
Ramesh.
hour
Great fun,
to
great
spend.
fun.
Great fun.
Thank you so much.
And please remember, from the 1st of September or even earlier, I think 25th of August,
Yeah.
you guys are mine.
And the color of the beard has to change.
Color of the beard to get the brand colors.
My body and the billboard. We shall discuss that over the
Check shall be delivered. Basis that.
Wow.
Right? Every day that the beard is not purple is a day when your salary gets cut.
Maybe the beard needs to get cut. But that's a different matter altogether. But thank you very much for this.
Lovely having you guys. One good word for Viva Network.
Oh, thank you for the elbow room.
There is no elbow room here.
I think it's remarkable that we've got so many genres under one roof. I think it's unprecedented that we have Punjabi and we have Hindi retro, we have English stroke international, as well as, contemporary
CHR, yes,
CHR.
absolutely.
And we have a podcasting network.
Yeah.
And we really are the first who turned around and said radio presenters can be content creators. And now all the solutions we provide to our partners and our brands has such a strong element of content creation on digital and film. I think, kudos to Ramesh and the top management that we've paved the way for the rest of the business, and everybody else is trying to do that now. Again, we were one of the first to get on to advertiser-funded programming. And the industry is now, slowly waking up to the fact. So we've had many firsts, and we shall continue to have more.
Amen to that.
Thank you. The OGs, ladies and gentlemen, the best in radio.
Let's do namaste. Namaste.